together. So, I don't know why I keep failing to do videos. I guess because I really haven't been able to express myself, and sometimes typing it all up's nice and convenient. Other times, not so much, because you can just express your your thoughts and emotions a lot quicker in a video. So I've gotten over it being like, it's still awkward, but I'm not phased. I don't care. Um, but anyways, what I wanted to highlight is just, I hope people know though, my grieving has been hard in this last, feels like forever. The last month and a half of losing my mom, that God's met me every day, every step of the way, and even in the emotional turmoil and crying when I need to, and breaking down, his love always drapes over me. And there's been a lot of times too where it's like, it's always the random things, like you're kind of organizing stuff, and of course I'm in her house, so there's a lot of reminders, and when those triggers happen and I just allow myself to weep, he's always just, like I said, just draped over me in his love. And there's been times where I just break down and unpacking my stuff, and his presence just comes, like blasting me. And even in her service there, from start to finish, me walking in there, and I could feel his presence, and I was almost so far gone before the service even started. And even sitting up on that stage when I was trying to do a speech, but then I allowed the Spirit just to flow, and I said the words that I was supposed to say. I was getting pretty wasted. I was pretty far gone, and his presence was just like a wave. I could feel the waves of glory all throughout it, and just wisdom along the way that he's showed me. Even in that, like, I didn't want to, I was having a hard time wanting to do a service and seeing family, and it was in divine wisdom that it was like, look outside of yourself for the bigger picture of her testimony and her life, and how you're supposed to impact the family, and being intentional to stop each day and just embrace his presence, and each morning when I wake up and just do that with intentionality. I've been getting, Holy Spirit just comes and, hits me in his love, and it's like a refreshment, even though I still physically feel tired, and I'm still fighting like a heaviness and a fatigue, and try not to allow the details of things weigh me down, so I can take each day and each step forward, and keep giving him the burden. And so I just want to highlight, like, even in our grief and in our brokenness, which we're allowed to feel and process through because we're not robots. And I think it's really important to allow that, because if you don't, essentially you push it down until it is just still residing there within your soul, and there's no real resolve or transparency with the Lord to allow him to heal those areas. And that's a whole process, and that takes time, and that's completely fine. But yeah, just if there's ever struggles and traumas and hurts, I've known this before with losing my dad, that it was essential that I kept going back to the Lord, even though I was processing my emotions or questions, because it's hard. It's based off the way you perceive God too, because you could either blame him in it and be like, well, I don't understand why this is happening, I thought you were good, and blah blah blah, or you embrace him closer and you say, wait, in your goodness and in your sovereignty, you're going to bring this for good. And so that's a real battle sometimes because things don't make sense and it's really frustrating. And unless you allow him to give you divine wisdom through some of those things, there's really never a resolve to those answers. And so he's given me divine wisdom on some of the things, and it still doesn't all make sense. But in that, it helps me release it to the bigger picture, to the bigger spectrum of things, to transparency and realness with him, and allowing myself to feel and process through that, and then coming up and embracing new beginnings, and embracing his promises, and just trusting him and asking him for wisdom. And so grief looks like a lot of different things, and it's okay to feel and to process through it, and I'm getting through it, and that's what matters most. And I know he's there with me through that whole process. So I just thank you for listening, and that way I can just express myself and go forward to the next step.